guys, so today I'm going to be doing my August wrap-up, wrapping up all the books that I read in the month of August. Unfortunately, I didn't read too many books in the month of August, but I still read a considerable amount, so I guess let me show them to you. The first book that I read was With Malice by Eileen Cook. This book follows a girl named Jill who wakes up one day in hospital. She can't remember what's happened or what's put her there. She finds out that she was in an accident in which her best friend was killed too. And she also finds out that she's been put to blame, that people think that she crashed the car on purpose in order to kill her best friend. But she can't remember any of this. She can't remember the past 6 weeks of her life. And she doesn't think at all that she would ever do something like this. Unfortunately though, everyone else thinks that she's guilty. That's all I'm going to tell you about this book, but this book is an emotional roller coaster of a ride. I've actually done a book review of this, so you can go check it out if you want to, but it was definitely intense and it gave me a little bit of grey hairs reading this book. I rated this book a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was Boundless by Lily Wilkerson. I've also done a book review of this, so you can go check that out if you wanted to, but this book is also very intense. It follows a girl named Ruby who is dealing with loss in her life. She lost her brother and her father recently, and she's still not coping with it well. But then one day she meets this boy named Fox. He's really interesting and unique, and he doesn't understand some of the simple things like the way money works. But for the things that he does understand, he's so smart and intelligent. But most of all, he sees that Ruby's in pain and helps her. Ruby is drawn to Fox, but something sinister is going on. She finds out that Fox is part of this cult, and before she knows it, she is also drawn into this cult. As Ruby and Fox are promised all these different things from this cult, they start to lose a part of themselves, and Ruby has to find the strength to get out of this cult and save Fox as well. This book also was such an emotional roller coaster of a read, and I also really enjoyed this one. It's also Australian YA literature, so I think we should also be really supporting our Aussie YA authors, and this book was just so good that I really liked it. I was definitely on the edge of my seat and I just couldn't put it down. At some points the characters frustrated me a little bit because they were just so willing to believe, and I thought they were stronger than that, but I kind of forgave them for the circumstances that they were in. As I said though, I have done a book review of this, so if you would like to know my full feelings and thoughts on this book, you can go check this out. But again, I rated this book a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I don't have here with me because I borrowed it from the library, but I read The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I buddy read this book from Jen over with Gentle Strength. She has a YouTube channel obviously called Gentle Strength, and she's great. I love her. Definitely go check her out. I'll leave her channel in a link in the description below. Anyway, we decided to read this book because we read a magical realism book last month and we really enjoyed it, and we wanted to read another magical realism book, and we'd both be running to read The Night Circus for so long that we decided to read it. We both heard so many good things about it, and I have to say that I really enjoyed my time reading it. It's a really hard book though to try and describe what it's about, so I'm actually not going to bother to. I'm pretty sure you guys would all know what it is about, but if magical realism at all interests you, then I would recommend checking it out. I rated The Night Circus a 4.5 out of 5 stars, but on Goodreads it's a 5 stars. The next book that I read is The Fall of the Butterflies by Andrea Ports. Again, I have done a book review of this, so you can go check out my full thoughts and feelings over there. But for the most part, I enjoyed this book, though it was very different. It follows this girl named Willa who has recently been shipped off to a boarding school. She doesn't want to be there. In fact, she doesn't want to be in this world at all. But then she meets this girl named Remy, and Remy is everything that she's not. Remy invites Willa into her world, and Willa discovers a life that she never knew. She starts discovering that maybe she can fit into this life, but Remy herself is starting to drift away. Willa has to decide if she can save herself and Remy. As I said, this book, I had a lot of conflicting feelings about it. I don't want to get too much into it as I have done a book review, so I'd really recommend checking it out if you're interested at all in this book, but I had very mixed feelings about it, and I rated this book a 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Sing by Vivi Green. This book follows a celebrity who's been recently dumped, and so she goes to this coastal town for the summer where she tries to find herself again and finds out what was important to her. This book is a very light-hearted contemporary read, and I have to say that I just really didn't enjoy my time a lot reading this book. It was definitely okay, it was light and fluffy, but it just didn't really hold much depth for me to really interest me or captivate me. I rated this book a 2.5 out of 5 stars, but again, I have done a book review on it, so if you want to check out my full feelings and thoughts, you can do that if you want to. After that, I read Falling by Jane Green, and I loved this book. I rated this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I've done a book review of it, shock, surprise, horror. I guess you would never see that one coming, and again, you can go check that out if you want to, but I really enjoyed my time reading this one. I'm not going to get into it because I've talked so much about about this book. It's basically an adult romance story and it had a surprise ending that I never expected, and I really enjoyed it. As I said, go check out my book review if you like this kind of stuff because I really enjoyed it, and also the cover is gorgeous, just saying. After that, I read Nevernight by J. Kristoff. This book is a fantasy book and it follows a girl named Mia. Mia lost everything when she was at the age of 10, and now 6 years later she's looking for revenge. She wants to kill the people that took everything away from her, but to do this she must go to this school of assassins and train there to be the very best. But at the school of assassins no one is safe. After all, they're all assassins, and Mia has to first learn to survive this school and win. This book is really hard to describe, to be honest, but again, I have done a book review of it where I tried to describe my full feelings and thoughts of it and what I thought of it. It will be coming out shortly, but overall I really did enjoy this book. Only thing that I wasn't the biggest fan of was the footnotes, but again, I get into more of that in my review, and it kind of took me a little while to get into this book, but once I did, I was totally immersed and couldn't stop reading. I ended up rating this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was a memory book by Lara Avery, and I'm going to go through the rest of these books really quickly because I've only got 5 minutes left of filming and my battery is about to run out, so let's just zoom through this. This book follows a girl named Samantha who is losing her memory. She had everything figured out for her life, she had all these big plans, but then one day she finds out that she has this disease and that she's going to lose her memory. But Samantha doesn't want to forget, so she creates this memory book where she can write down her full feelings and thoughts of everything, and so that she will write to remember. As I'm trying to go through this really quick, that's all I'm going to say. Really enjoyed this book though, and I have a book review of it coming out, so you should totally go check out the review when that is out. But I rated this book a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was A Boy Made of Flux by Keith Stewart, and surprise surprise, I have a book review of it coming out. It'll be out very shortly. I guess you never saw this one coming again. I've basically done a book review of every book that I've mentioned here. I know, I'm just crazy. But anyway, this book follows 30-year-old Alex, who is a dad. He's a dad to his son Sam, who is 8 and autistic, and Alex doesn't know how to understand Sam. But then one day Sam discovers a game called Minecraft where he can fully be himself, and together Alex and Sam play together and start to form a relationship there. And through this game Minecraft, Alex has to try and reconnect with his family and be a family together with them. I don't know, I'm trying to be really quick guys, but overall I really enjoyed this book. I rated this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I felt like it dealt with everything really well, and I just feel like it was a really informative subject on autism. As I said, I've done a book review of it, so I would highly recommend checking that out. And the last book I've read is The Easy Way Out by Stephen Amsterdam. As you'll guess, I have a book review of it coming out, but I had very mixed feelings about this book. It basically follows a man named Ethan, and Ethan is a nurse. He's a dying assistant. His job is basically to hand out a last drink to those who ask for it. However, his job faces him with many moral dilemmas, and he has to decide what is the right thing to do in these scenarios. I had very mixed feelings about this book, which I'll tell you more in my book review, but I rated this book a 3 out of 5 stars. So these are the books that I read in the month of August. Sorry for being so rushed, but my camera is literally about to run out. I mean literally in that very sense, it literally has 1 minute left to go, so I'm gonna speed through this. Let me know in the comments below what you read in the month of August. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you'd like to see more book related videos from me. I promise they won't be so rushed, and I will see you next time. Okay, bye!